Hi, in this movie I'm going to show you how you can import inventory adjustments into QuickBooks Desktop using Zed Axis. So what is an inventory adjustment and why would you use one? Well, in QuickBooks, an inventory adjustment is a way of varying the quantity on hand or the value of your inventory items. For example, you would do that if you were recording spoilage or returning items that were defective to a vendor, or whether you were recording theft or damage and you needed to adjust the quantity on hand that you have physically in your warehouse or in your company's site to the quantity that's recorded within QuickBooks. So you might have recorded those in a spreadsheet or on a physical piece of paper, and you have that detail in Excel or in a text file, and you're looking for a way to get that easily into QuickBooks Desktop. Then that's what I'm going to show you how you can do that using a utility called Zed Axis. So I've opened QuickBooks, and let's have a look at how these can be recorded within QuickBooks itself. So here on the icon which says Inventory Activities, I'm going to select the Adjust Quantity or Value on Hand. Now, if you're familiar with QuickBooks, you'll know that adjustments can be done really in a combination of ways. The first way, and probably the most common way, is to do a quantity adjustment. So that's saying that here is the quantity that we have on hand. We're now going to either add in a new quantity according to the count that we've just taken, or we're going to say, well, this is the difference between what we have physically and the quantity on hand that's recorded in QuickBooks. The second type is what we call a total value. So that is the global value for the item itself. And that's just a way of recording a dollar value in your QuickBooks file. And the third is to record a combination of the two. So you're going to record the actual new quantity and the value or difference between those two. So typically the most common would be a quantity adjustment, but we can cater for both of those when importing using Zed Axis. When it comes to using those, we need to make a special note of how we can either do the quantity adjustment or the value adjustment when importing, and I'll show you that later when we come to the mapping process. So let's just have a look at a quick one that's been done previously. So here you can see this is a quantity and total value. So the quantity difference been added in here, and then again the value difference has been recorded in this column as well. What you'll notice also within the enterprise version is that you can record the site that those changes or those adjustments are being made to, as well as the bin as well. Equally, you can record changes to the lot numbers and changes to serial numbers when importing as well. So there's quite a few advanced features that are available within Enterprise that Axis can manage when importing these inventory adjustments. So let's take the next step and let's go and have a look at how exactly Axis imports these quantity adjustments and value adjustments for inventory into QuickBooks. So first step in the process is to open Zed Axis on my desktop, and I'm going to connect to the QuickBooks Desktop company file. So next I click on the Import tab, and I'm going to browse to the file that contains the inventory adjustments that I'm going to import into QuickBooks. So I'm going to select, in this example, some inventory adjustments that are contained within a text file. Now Zed Axis also supports Excel as well as IIF files as well. So I select the file and click Open. Now what you'll see is Axis has opened the contents of this file and this screen here. Now the first row will typically contain what we call the header row. Now these are a row that contains a description of what is in each column. And then underneath that we have repeating rows of data. So these are the actual items, and these are the quantities that we're going to adjust, or these are the new quantities that we're going to import into QuickBooks. So next we're going to create a mapping, and we select the transaction type as inventory adjustment. Now what you'll notice is on the left hand side we have a column that are all the fields in QuickBooks that you can import on an inventory adjustment, and then in this right hand column are the corresponding fields in our import file. Now you only need to map the yellow fields in order to create an inventory adjustment. These are what we call the mandatory fields, but there are a lot of other fields that are available. But a note of caution here. Within QuickBooks there are certain combinations of these fields that can be applied, but not all of them can be done. So for example, here we have quantity adjustment type fields. So these are the fields we would map if we were doing a quantity adjustment. And then we'll have down here what we call value adjustment fields. So these would be the value type import if we were importing those. You'll also notice down the bottom there are serial numbers and lot numbers if we wanted to import more serial numbers on inventory items, as well as inventory site if we wanted to record the location of inventory, or we need to transfer inventory from one location to another. Those are the fields that we would map. So now we go through the process of matching these up. Now this is a fairly straightforward inventory adjustment, so we're just going to map in the account goes against the count, the ref number, the date, and important to map the item, of course. Now this needs to be the full item name as it appears in QuickBooks, so that we can match those two up. And we're going to put in the new quantity as well. And with this simple inventory, we're now just going to give the mapping a name that we can then use to apply that map on subsequent imports, so we don't need to do this mapping stage every time. If you do need assistance with understanding what all these fields are, if you click on this inventory adjustment link here, so that will then open a page on our website which has detailed descriptions of how to import inventory adjustments, along with the steps to do that and the description of each of those fields. So that's an important resource that you can use when actually setting up these maps. So back in Axis, we'll give the mapping a name. And then we'll save that. What you'll notice is that now only the fields that we've mapped will appear within this grid, and this is so we can check what we import into QuickBooks. There are other advanced fields within this, so we can adjust existing inventory adjustments, or we can append to those, so there are more features in there that you can use. So when you're ready, you click on the import button. Now Axis will validate the data when it's importing. We'll make sure that it's all in the correct format, and then begin the process of importing those inventory adjustments directly into QuickBooks. So you'll see a summary within this grid to tell us how many records have been imported, and we know that those successfully have been done. Otherwise you'll see an error message here, and then you can troubleshoot that. Now to see that directly in QuickBooks, we click on the View button. Axis will open QuickBooks and display that inventory adjustment directly there, so that we can review it, make sure it's exactly what we want to import. And then if it isn't, then we have the option to undo those at an individual line level, or the ability to undo the whole import itself. So now we're ready, we can click close, and that's how you can batch import inventory adjustments from text, Excel, or even IIF files directly into QuickBooks Desktop using Zed Axis.